Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where everybody is in the world today. Laura, how are you today?
I'm fabulous.
Excellent, excellent,
I'm
excellent.
fabulous, right? No matter the energetic construct is always fabulous. It puts the energy into my interior environment, and then I get to share all of that great
Mm,
energy outward.
I love this, and I'm seeing more and more people embracing this attitude where we're using affirmations in our daily setting, which is where it's now becoming part of our life, and that's when it actually does sort of not sort of that's when it slips past the conscious mind, slips into the subconscious, and it becomes reality, right? And it's beautiful. I
And I'm
heard,
going to
yeah.
add, oh, I'm so sorry. I just heard something the
Mhm.
other day about this positive toxicity and this overuse of positivity. And I I think there's a time and a place, but in
Yeah.
our general, right, unfolding of our days, to choose positive thinking and positive energy, right? The way we eat, how we exercise, how we drive into work, how we co create and interact. Why not? Right? There's enough negativity out in the world that if we choose a positive state of being, we can begin to counteract, right? All of that rippling of the negativity out there. So I'm going to stand on the side of positivity
I love
all
it.
the
I
time.
love it. I love it. I love it. And that actually fits in so nicely with last week's topic as well, where we're talking about, not being a Pollyanna, not trying to pretend that the challenges in the world around us are non-existent,
Right.
but being able to look at them from an objective point of view and bring a positive spin to our perspective. And I
Yes.
think that is so important.
And
Actually,
we
one of my
talk.
friends the other day, sorry, yeah?
No, so go ahead.
Oh, one of my friends the other day, I asked her how she is. And with this beautiful, glowing smile on her face, she goes, "Oh, Stefan, I am divinely favored."
Oh my
And
God.
I looked at her and I
I
was
love
like, "What?" And she says, "Yeah, I've just started saying that." She goes, "And every time I do, I feel divinely favored."
Yeah. And
It
again, this
just goes to the power of thoughts and words.
and it isn't to bypass when we
Mm-mm.
are up against real life challenges, but it's a mechanism, it's a code, it's a formula, it's a way of being that it's almost like when we go to the gym and we walk in and we don't feel good and we don't want to be there and we don't want to work out, and our personal trainer is there to uplift, inspire, and motivate. We go through that feeling, that experience, we come out, we're stronger, we're calmer, we're more relaxed, we feel good about ourselves. So, this isn't to trick the mind and trick the human
Mm-mm.
condition. This is an observance of knowing I am in the power seat of choice, as we always say in the science of empowerment, and I choose to observe the feeling and the thought process around something, but I also choose to move through it with more strength, with more positivity, with more inspiration, more divinity, however we want to look at it, so that it unfolds in a very unique way.
Absolutely. Apologies to our audience. I only just noticed that I'd
Yeah.
forgotten to re-put my background back up. There it is. But very well said, Laura. That is so, so, so true. And this actually does bring us to kind of a how discussion. So I think the perspective is very much the why, because we are looking to elevate our lives, to evolve ourselves. But then the next question is how? And it's not just, what comes out of our mouths, but very much around today's topic, very much what we put in as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
today we're talking about food, energetic alignment, and your gut, and how those three actually do intertwine and work in tandem with each other. Now, you and I have obviously had long discussions over the years about this very topic and what we're trying out in our eating plans, in our day-to-day um, intake, how that affects our energy levels. And one disclaimer that we would like to just share with everybody is, first of all, everybody is different. So what works for one person does not necessarily work for the next. For instance, I always say, when people say, "Oh, why don't you go keto?" I'm like, my genetic predisposition does not cater to a very high protein, high fat diet. It just doesn't. My joints don't like it. My skin doesn't like it. My gut definitely does not like it.
Yeah.
Um, but equally, my specific way of eating, which is more plant focused, I'm not vegan, but I'm more reductionist, I think is the term. So I eat very little meat, a lot more vegetables, a lot more fruit, and my body absolutely loves that. My energy levels are through the roof. However, I know when I've tried to put my father on the same thing, his energy levels plummeted. It just did not work for him. But put him on a keto diet and he's A for away.
And I, believe it or not, do better with carbs than plants is a definite. I'm pretty much, that's all I eat is plant based.
Right.
We experiment with things. My brother, for instance, eats meat. Like that is it. Meat and vegetable, meat and vegetable. And he's like an iron, horse.
Yeah.
His body is accustomed to that. So I do think it's so important. And there's so many avenues to travel on, and experts and research and data and science and, medicinal purposes of how we eat. But what I find is most of us don't pay attention to the energy of
There
when
we
we're
go.
preparing, when we're shopping, when we're preparing, the energy of when we're in the kitchen, if we're frenetic, if we're stressed, if we're upset and we're cooking dinner and then we go down to eat and it's rushed and we're having an argument or there's a lot of chaos in the background. We really have lost that art and the beauty of preparing our mindset and our physicality and our biology and our energetic structure before we eat, while we're prepping, and when we eat. It's just more important than the average person realizes. So I think what's really fabulous about the Shift
Mm,
and Go, again, we're just bringing this unique perspective, this new awareness, education, just the possibilities of how to look at something as simple and as important and as healthy as eating. And when you can allow yourself 10 minutes to just sit and put on some jazz or some beautiful frequency music and take a moment, bless your food, or if that's
mhm.
not your thing, just, I'm grateful. I can sit for a moment, I can eat, and I'm going to choose a state of frequency in gratitude for this experience. And it sounds, sometimes challenging or daunting, or I could feel people like, who has time for that? But this is part of the human condition and why we're in such division within ourselves, first and foremost, and then collectively, and why it's very, very important for us to begin to look at how we eat and how it affects us on all levels. And I just realized, I think Mr. Stefan has frozen. So if everyone would give us a moment, because this is live, I'm going to let him know and see if he can get himself back on. And I will continue. So, in my personal experiences, the food intake is so deeply connected to the energetic understanding within our minds. And if we are rushed and we are struggling and we're having a hardship, there's actually damage that can be done to the physicality, to the biology, to the cells. So it really is a unique, almost tribal experience to look at food as nourishment, not as an addiction, not as a stress release, even though a beautiful meal, a cup of tea with fresh, farm honey, all of that can certainly be part of that aspect. But it really is important to understand that everything has energy. Everything is connected to energy. So I'm hearing Mr. Stefan right now. So we're going to keep it running.
No, battery died.
Hold on. Wonderful. All right, so I'm going to keep on going. Battery died. He's all the way in South Africa. I'm here in the USA, of course, and this happens. Tech issues, we all can understand that. So I'm going to keep on going and letting you know that how we look at our intake, whether it's the movies we watch, the music we listen to, absolutely fundamental, the people that we choose to be around. Hello, partner. Here we come back. I just was kind of explaining how the movies we watch, the people we surround ourselves, the food and the way that we're sitting down, ingesting an energy, and how energy is in everything. And we really have become numb to this connection to what am I really taking in to my energetic environment. And when we start to look at the knowledge that energy is in everything, now we start to ask ourselves, right? Negative, positive, neutral. Which energy is that? Which, i.e., what am I becoming? So if we take in negativity, if we take in neutral, if we take in positivity, this is what we would become.
So, and first of all, thank you for holding on the fort whilst I was pulling up my inverter because the battery died and we had a power outage here. So yeah, running on various power sources, but we'll get there. Something that I was thinking about when you were talking about this now, in regards to, really being conscious of what we're putting in. For the longest time, I was trying to do exactly that. And it works. It definitely does, to stop and think about, where is this actually going to go? But equally, I would like to, challenge is the wrong word. I'd like to encourage our audience to not just take notes and be conscious of what we're putting in, but take notes and be conscious of how your body physically responds to what you're putting in. And it's the most interesting thing when I first started doing this exercise with myself, for the first 2 weeks, you notice no changes. You notice nothing because you're so used to your body responding in a certain way, right? Until the one day I decided, right, I'm going to eat hyper clean for 24 hours. So I first did a 24-hour fast, followed by 24 hours of hyper clean eating. Okay. And the first thing I noticed was I didn't feel so nice. Didn't feel satiated, right? There wasn't that full feeling that you get from a big meal. There wasn't, I felt a little bit, not sluggish, but definitely sleepy. So I felt energized, but very sleepy. Oh, this isn't nice. I don't like this at all. Why am I doing this? And then the next day I went straight back to my normal way of eating, which is quite haphazard, grab whatever's at hand because busy day, etc. And off you go. And immediately I noticed that whilst I'm now feeling satiated and I'm getting that dopamine spike from all the sugars and whatnot that's in your green grains and in your milk and in your everything, right? You're getting that dopamine spike. So you're feeling satiated, you're feeling happy, but it's a fake happiness, right? The very next thing I noticed was I'm bloated. Yeah. I'm feeling sluggish. So yes, I'm energized and I'm not sleepy, but I'm sluggish whilst I'm having all this supposed energy. And then the third thing I noticed was how much less food I actually wanted.
Yeah.
And that was very interesting for me. So I was eating my normal way, but I wasn't able to eat the quantity that I would normally eat because in the 48 hours that I was busy with this little bit of a cleanse and a detox and all the rest and a test on my body, I was eating very small portions, but high energy foods. Yeah. Right. So things like baby spinach, celery, citrus fruits, chia seeds, right? All of these different things that I'm putting into my body that are very high energy, but you're eating very little of it in comparison.
And the body knows, right? The body knows its alignment with that natural fuel.
Yeah.
And
And
smaller meals, the digestive doesn't go into overdrive, which taxes so much other aspects of the body. And that's again, so what people maybe don't understand all the way through.
well, this is the thing, and then I started to well, the first thing I noticed was, like I say, my stomach had shrunk over the 48 hours dramatically. So now I wasn't able to eat as much as I normally would, which in turn led me to a massive energy slump, which I then recognized and realized that all this time I thought I need to eat such a lot because I'm a man and I must have a big meal and all the rest of it. No, the food I'm eating is just not nutrient dense. It's not energy dense. It's wasted space. So you have to eat 3 or 4 times what your stomach can actually handle just to get enough energy to be able to perform the task that you normally would. And I'm
And
like,
again, every body is so different.
it's different.
And
Yes.
always check with your homeopathic, naturopathic, your doctor, blood work. There's, I mean, so many avenues here,
Oh,
but
yeah. Please.
for the podcast, we're expressing to look at everything that you're mentally, emotionally, spiritually,
Mm,
physically taking into your environment. And when you start to do this, everything changes. And I am literally a
that's,
walking example of that. Yeah.
yeah. Because the next thing that happened to me after doing this whole thing is I flashed back to something that actually a yogi and breathwork coach that I went to for about a week. I went to a retreat. And one of the things that came up in that was around food. And he said in there that one of the things he's noticed on his spiritual journey, which involves cutting out a lot of things because he is devoted to his yogic path. So he's basically vegan, but even as a vegan, there's some vegetables that he doesn't eat. So he won't eat mushrooms, he won't eat onions, he won't eat garlic. There's all these different things. And he even said, he'll have, for instance, cow's milk once every 3 or 4 months, but he'll have it straight from the farm, unpasteurized, all the rest of it, just proper, pure cow's milk. And he says, and first of all, Stefan, he goes, a tablespoon of that in your coffee, and your coffee is too rich to drink. He's like, that is how rich actual cow's milk is, and it makes you think
Right.
about what we're getting in our fridge. But anyway, besides the point. He then said what he finds interesting on his path is because his path is also very reductionist but not restrictive. So there's no laws that says, oh, if you're a yogi, you can't eat certain things. It's just advised that you shouldn't. And they give you the reasons behind it. And he said one of the key things that he noticed in his journey was that if he had, let's say, a negative thought on a Thursday, or something stressful and challenging occurred in life, and his response was not as measured as it normally would be, he says, I can guarantee you I could trace it back to something that I ingested within the previous 48 hours. And I went, no, it can't be. That's impossible. He
Yeah.
goes, Stefan, I'm telling you now.
Yeah. I've experimented with this for well over 2 decades myself. And there is such a correlation with the food because our natural state, however you want to look at this, want to go, into just instinctual human DNA knowledge, understands that the less we put in, the more interior space for higher realms of advancement are available. So, but even if you aren't a spiritual being or you have a very specific religious path, all of it is beautiful. We're talking from the perspective of use that autonomy, use
Yes.
that free will to become a more educated consumer. What are you taking in? What is the reason that you are attracted to that food, that pattern, that movie, that style of music? Is it soothing the consciousness? Is it elevating your experiences? Is it clean? Is it detoxifying? Is it creating space for new information, new growth, a higher level of awareness, thus advancement while we're here? And food is definitely an anchor if it
Oh yeah.
is full of processes and dyes and all of that. And again, there's so many programs out, whether it's on YouTube, podcast, of course, all over on cable and TV, and what they're, saying. And I know some are all for me, and then just as many are against me. Or, we all understand this, which is the beauty, again, of exercising your own free will and experimenting. When you eat cleaner,
Absolutely.
you feel better. You just do. You don't need anyone to tell you that.
So we actually, in that same week, we had a visiting master come through.
Mm,
And kid you not, Laura, the man was probably twice, if not three times my size. Just
mm,
huge, 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 huge big guy. Yet he did the yoga flows with us without a problem, got into every single position, no hassles, the most beautiful, serene look on his face. And he did a talk afterwards to us. And he goes, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking, because, oh, that wasn't on the Saturday. That was when he came through. And Saturday and Sunday of the program, we also would share a meal at the end of the retreat of the day's efforts. And it was always, like I say, vegan and all that, but the most beautiful meals you could possibly imagine.
mm,
And he's sitting there with this tiny little plate with just a few things on it that he wants. And he starts his talk, and we're all eating and whatnot. And he goes, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking. How is this man a yogi if he's so big? And who does he think he's fooling eating such a small amount of food?
mm.
He says, it might surprise you to know that this is normally all I eat. I have maybe 2 plates like this a day, and that's it. I don't eat anything else. And I have my water, and that's basically it. He goes, but what a lot of people in the West don't realize is your size and your body is not necessarily reflective of what is being put in. It can also just be the natural state that your body wants to be in. He goes, I happen to be very happy at this size. If I wanted to lose weight with the way I'm eating, because I eat at a calorie deficit, I probably could. It would require me walking an extra mile every day, and that's it, and I drop weight like that. He goes, but I don't want to. He goes, but I can guarantee you I have 1,000 times more energy than everybody in this room put together.
Yeah.
Because the food he was putting into his body is so high energy, dense in these nutrients, and the vibration of that food, the way it's prepared, like you were saying earlier, right? Such a high vibration that his body automatically responds to it. And he is, and I actually approached him after. I said, okay, do have to ask though, have you had your blood pressure checked? Have you
Mm,
looked in, to see if you not maybe pre-diabetic? He goes, I've had all of that stuff. And he
yeah,
goes, and Stefan, before I started this path, I had heart issues. I had high blood pressure. He goes, this weight didn't get you on its own magically. He says it got you through McDonald's and KFC, and that's what I used to eat all the
right.
time. He goes, but I'm actually quite happy at this, so it's fine. And now I'm eating healthy. He says, and all of that is gone. He says, plus my brain fog is gone.
Yeah.
And he even says, he goes, and it's not because I'm eating vegan, it's the intention behind what I'm eating.
And that's again what we're talking about here, shifting the mindset, shifting your position as an observer. What am I eating? How is the state of thought process while I'm preparing the food, why I'm sitting
Mm,
down? Again, I talk to so many people around the world, and everything is rushed, right? There's
yes.
this frenetic energy, and especially for stay-at-home parents who are
Mm-hmm.
trying to clean, do the laundry, pick up the kids, you know, cook dinner, grocery shop, the dog's barking, the neighbor stopping by, however our life is, or, starting a new job or struggling with financial or love issues. We all understand this. We're all in this big, beautiful story together. if you can find a way to just slow it down, make small changes. You know, my brother always says, and it's true, and I heard this the other day and I loved it. It's, if God, however you look at God, made it, eat it. If man produced it, walk right on by. And that's basically what they were saying. And it's not that, of course, man hasn't contributed some beautiful, amazing things, but the closer we are to earth and soil and water and you know, sun and simple, the better it
Simple.
will be in our bodies. But everyone is different. Someone can drink cow's milk. I personally can't. It wreaks havoc with me. But I can do goat cheese, I can do sheep
Yeah.
cheese, but give me anything with cows and there's issues. So I think everyone needs to experience what shifting your diet, shifting your mindset, and have fun with it and explore
Yeah.
different foods and colors and textures, and don't prejudge how amazing you actually will feel when you begin to detoxify the thought around the energy in everything and how it actually affects you.
And this is, I think, the key to mindfulness, because we tend to throw around the term being mindful in almost a band-aid for everything, right? But we
Yeah.
don't actually get back to what the word actually means. So
Mhm.
being mindful is not just being present in the moment, it's being present and conscious
Yeah.
of what is going on around and internally.
Yeah.
So case in point is I try to apply this to myself. I've started doing my juices every day. I have
Me
a green
too.
juice every morning. And I'll be very honest with our audience. When I first decided to start this, I went, seriously? Spinach as a juice in the morning? I mean, I love spinach. I can eat spinach all day, every day, but as a juice?
It's so good for you, though.
And I made this juice, and it's got spinach, it's got green apple, it's got celery, it's got
Mm.
cucumber, it's got ginger. It's when I put it up to my nose and I smelled it, I was like, this actually smells delicious.
Oh,
And I
it's
took a
so
sip, and I went, oh, it tastes good. And my first thought was, well, if it tastes good, it's probably not going to be that good for me. 5 minutes later, I kid you not, I could almost feel my gut
good.
breathing a sigh of relief.
Yes.
Going, thank you. It felt like this soothing effect was just spreading out through my body. And it's not that I've not had a green juice before, I have. I've just never been bothered to be conscious
Yeah.
of what was happening as I'm ingesting certain things. So I tried it actually this week. I haven't had junk food in quite some time, so I thought, you know what, can I treat myself to some KFC? And
Oh,
I bought my usual truckload of KFC that I would normally buy. I think I got through one burger and I didn't even want any chips, and I was like, don't want anything
yeah.
else. Don't want anything else. I'm actually feeling quite heavy.
I cannot
Um,
eat any of that. Any of, like, right up, you know, people have done it. The beautiful Dr. Wayne Dyer used to do this experiment right on PBS on national TV here in the States, where with vitamins and certain vitamins and the difference between a more pure supplement and one that had fillers. And
yeah,
I won't get into the experiment, but our
nice and
body
good.
knows. It's the mind and the emotion around the food that we connect with the food. Pizza or homemade meatloaf with gravy or fried chicken or a Big Mac and candy. I love cotton candy when I was a kid. We have all of, I do. There's funny stories about that for another time, but there's all these amazing connections to food
Mm,
and the emotionality to what it does. Again, go into your empowerment. Understand that food is medicinal. It expands so much for us. The cleaner, the softer, the more gentle to the digestive system, the gallbladder, the pancreas, the liver, the heart, the blood flow. the more space we free up for creative energy, new endeavors, side hustles, happier attitudes, more love to share, less reaction, more positive interaction.
There we go. You said something beautiful there, treating food as medicine,
Yeah,
but
it really
beautiful
is.
medicine. I mean,
Yeah.
Aristotle said that let food be, I think it was Aristotle, either him or Socrates, who said, let food be your medicine. And I first heard that saying about, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. And that was when I stopped and I went, okay, let's look at all the medication that I'm supposed to be taking. So I've hit a certain
Yes.
age. I'm supposed to be taking this supplement for my testosterone. I'm supposed to be taking this for my blood sugar, this for my blood pressure. What are the chemicals that I'm ingesting, and can I get that from food?
Yeah.
Only to find out that actually, yes,
Yeah.
very easily, right? All the stuff that I'm supposed to be taking in pill format, I could just make into a beautiful dish and eat it, and have a
And again,
wonderful time.
it's not to, of course, medicine is so
Oh
important. And if
yes,
you're already in, a state opposite of your homeostasis, yes, you may have to put certain chemicals in to shift the present illness or off
absolutely.
balance within the body. But while you're doing that, while you're beginning your walking program or your stretching program, while you're beginning to loosen your habits on junk food, you can start to shift out different dishes, different habits for better, healthier, stronger vibration foods, and your body will naturally move in. The mind, i.e., the personality, the habit, the pattern will pull on you.
Oh yeah,
Uh, be stronger, grasshopper, and
there
give
we go.
yourself that opportunity. I promise you, the cleaner you eat, the less you consume, the more positive energy or
Oh
calm
yeah,
energy you put in, the more your body will respond in kind. And to your point, Stefan, if you do not use food as a medicinal act within the human condition, you will have to use chemical man-made medicines to help the issue at some point in your life anyways. And then that just becomes right, well, then we're hamsters on the wheel, and now we really do become addicted to chemicals just to sustain our daily routine, when you can just live with the connection of nature, more
oh,
soothing food, and really feel the benefits of that. It just takes a little time and a little
absolutely.
practice.
Yeah,
But
that's it. It just takes a little bit of, and I must admit, like for me, it's been a very daunting challenge,
mhm,
to kind of make this shift from easy food that's processed, because it is easy to just grab a burger, to pull a loaf
yes,
of bread off the shelf, right? As opposed to making a green juice or making a soup that's very good and healthy and soothing for you. But equally, and actually something that I wanted to touch on a little bit further before we start to wrap up, is, we said, what does your gut have to do with all of this, aside from happy gut, happy life?
right,
Is you and I were discussing that science have now discovered that there's actually almost, I think it's the same amount of gray matter in your gut as in your brain. So when we
right,
say things like, I have a gut feeling, you actually
yes,
do. It's a conscious gut feeling, because there's also, the brain is connected to the gut via the vagus nerve, right? So a lot of the stress that we feel is because of a distressed gut
yeah,
that is trying
absolutely,
to tell you, I'm not happy, right?
yeah,
You may be getting this dopamine spike upstairs, but downstairs, I'm full of inflammation, I'm
yeah.
backed up, I'm bloating. You're not noticing this. Why are you not noticing this?
You don't rest well, you don't have the energy to work out and enjoy life and engage in things that you want to. And yes, we are telling you, it really is a gut brain connection, and the research is just, there's such a copious amount of research for everyone. This is again, the shift is just here to infuse and spark this moment of a new thought process. Continue to do your own research and learn how to connect to your body
Mm.
differently than maybe you ever have, for the sheer joy of advancing your energetic connection with food and with your health.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Which actually ties in so beautifully with the tarot reading that I just pulled on the energy around this discussion. I've never felt so encouraged by a reading in my life,
Oh, cool.
actually. So the reading basically, and I'll sum it up in a nutshell. It basically is trying to say that if we commit to this in terms of being more mindful around what our bodies need, not what they want, but what our bodies need,
Mm,
okay, and we're looking at high energy, beautifully dense, nutrient dense foods, foods that are soothing,
mm,
the response is we will have a balanced, youthful energy. So
mm.
not that frenetic of, a toddler running around like wanting to tear the whole house down, but more just having energy to do whatever you want, whenever you want. But your mind is so calm because, again, as we were just saying, you get that dopamine spike upstairs, doesn't mean
Yeah,
that your body is not distressed,
yeah.
right?
And it
And then that
absolutely is.
we have
Yeah,
that stress response
yeah,
constantly. Well, I do at least. So
yeah.
yeah.
And again, the shifts don't happen overnight. These are
No.
small new awarenesses, little bits of wisdom and gained insight from our own life, sharing with you that there is a way to heal the mind gut connection. There's an energy in everything. Just observe negative, positive, neutral when you go look. So a green juice, positive, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Big Mac, pizza, negative in the gut, positive maybe in the dopamine receptor. Now you've got to be, again, here's your autonomy, your free will, your empowerment choice. What do I want to fill myself with? The
How do I want to
emotion.
feel the next day?
Yeah, or an hour from now. And
Yeah.
that's how quick, right? Because the minute the body has to start digesting the cheese and the wheat and all of that, it doesn't have the space for what we really want. I promise you, soothe the mind with, which I was going to say, powerful intention. And this is hysterical as always, because the power quote out of the science of empowerment, which I pull up before we do anything, we're talking about thought, how the energy affects the body through our intake. And we happen to talk about the gut brain connection today. Food is medicinal. So the power quote of the day is, we must program into the thought process positive intention. If we begin everything
Mm.
with a positive intention, today I choose to soothe my body with something good for me. My mind will follow, the gut will follow. It'll all have this beautiful 360 synergy of working as one. Nothing will be in competition. Use your power of intention through your thought, through the power seat of choice, and actually shift your relationship with food, understanding that it powers your brain, which then creates your life.
Mm. If that's not a perfect place to wrap everything up in a neat little bow, I don't know what is. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. The
Yes.
correlation between manifestation and what we eat. On that note, as always, thank you so much for spending time with us here on the Shift & Co. We really do appreciate everybody's time. Please do have a look at the description in the bio, the link to purchase Laura's book, which she was just quoting from now, The Science of Empowerment, which is one of the most, if not the most empowering book I've ever read in my life. Link to purchase that on Amazon is in the description. Please do remember to like, share, and subscribe. We want to elevate consciousness around the world. Easiest way to do that is to get the message out there as much as possible.
Yeah.
Until next week, we will see you then soon, and we hope that everybody has an empowered week ahead.
Eat clean, feel empowered.
I love that. I'm gonna put that into actually I'm gonna put that on a manifestation on my mirror today. Thank you for
Yep.
that, Laura.
You're welcome.
Cheers, everybody. Bye now.